Hey y'all, my name is Sakile Simmons and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back if you've been before. Okay, so as you can see from my title, you know that today I will be talking about love. And I decided to talk about this because one, I was watching a sermon by Pastor Rich Wilkerson from VU Church here in Miami, and he's doing a series right now called Love Lies, and he's talking about love. And what I'm talking about is kind of part of what he was saying in the first week of that series. And it's just talking about love and what it is and what it's not, basically. So to get this started, on Instagram, I posted on my story asking my followers to define love. And so I want to give y'all some of the answers that they gave me. Here they are. When you're willing to sacrifice, compromise, and having God involved. A choice over a feeling. Love is a verb. It takes work, growth, compromise, and compassion. It brings joy. Patience and compromise. Love is security, self-worth, and significance. Coming back to that one. Complete and absolute giving of oneself to another. And then the last one I have here, someone just gave me a verse, 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. I'll go ahead and read that for y'all. It's not too long. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. I love that answer, by the way, you know who you are. So to kind of get some other ideas or thoughts on what love is, I decided to go to Urban Dictionary because I figured there would be some crazy answers, because you know anybody can put anything in Urban Dictionary. So I got 3 of the answers that I thought were wild. Okay, so the first one is a misunderstanding between two fools. Nature's way of tricking people into reproducing. Something many people play with. So when I read those, in my head I was like, what the heck? Like, there could be freaking little Samantha, little Jimmy going on the internet, typing in what is love, and they go on freaking Urban Dictionary, and this is what they get. And I think it's really unfortunate because these answers are really what people nowadays believe, you know? And I want to stop that thing because I believe in love. I honestly just believe that part of why we're put on this earth is to love people and to have relationships with people, you know? And it just sucks that people really just don't believe in love anymore. And part of that is because people just ultimately don't know what love is. Since they don't know what love is, then their relationships don't work. And when their relationships don't work, then they just give up on love. And they're like, oh, well, I give up, doesn't exist, like people suck, I suck, everything just sucks, and you know, and then they just start going about relationships all willy-nilly and never really just having the opportunity to experience, you know, just a real loving relationship that they wanted in the beginning. My goal in this video is to bring some hope, to bring what I think love is and what I believe is possible to you all. I'm trying to keep that same energy going that I have. I want to KTSC, keep that same energy. So the first thing I want to look at is the difference between love and lust, okay? So Pastor Rich gave us a definition of lust, and it's a little bit different from what, you know, most people think of when they hear the word lust. Here's the definition he gave us. Using someone as an instrument for your own satisfaction. And I thought that was an amazing definition. People often think that a relationship is going to help them fill a void that they have inside of themselves. And relationships are not meant to satisfy us, point blank period. They're meant to better us, they're meant to sharpen us. And I'm here to tell you today that the only person who can fill that hole in your heart, the only person who will be able to satisfy your life is God. He's the only person that will be able to fill that missing space that you have. No person can do that because people aren't perfect. People are going to mess up, point blank period. And honestly, that's on you to make that decision. It's on you to not put unrealistic expectations on people that you're in relationship with. You can't expect them to fill that void. And it's our job to allow God to fill those places in our hearts, in our minds, and our souls. It's our job to do that, and it's our job to not put those unrealistic expectations on people, okay? I want to give y'all some ways to know if you're operating with this lens of lust in your relationships, okay? And that's the lens of using people to satisfy your own needs, okay? So the first thing, you're focused on getting and not giving. You're focused on what you can gain versus what you can add. You're living life fearful and worried. Okay, those are the three things. Something that my mom has been telling me so much lately is, you know what, Sakile? When you are so giving, when you're so nice to somebody, it should be because you want to, not because you're expecting something in return. And I think that's really, it's monumental. It really is, because a lot of times I've done this before. I'm just giving, pouring myself out. And then I get frustrated, we get frustrated when the other person isn't giving back to you, or when the other person isn't doing what you were expecting they were gonna do because of what you were giving. But we shouldn't do that. You should be giving because you want to, not because you're expecting something in return. If the other person isn't giving back to you, then maybe they're not in love. Quite point blank period, you know? Maybe it's not what you thought it was, but don't get upset with that person for not giving you what you were expecting they were going to give you. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. On that last point of living life fearful and worried, you know, if you're out here like, oh, when am I going to find the man, or when is he gonna do this, and that, you know, your greatest obsession will lead to your biggest depression. You're gonna be constantly dealing with those unmet expectations and fantasies, you know, and that will really let you know if you're in love or you're in lust, you know. If you just constantly frustrated, like, why won't they? Why won't they do this? Why don't they do that? Why aren't they telling me this? Why aren't they telling me what I want to hear? You know, stop. That's enough with these expectations and fantasies that we're putting on other people to ultimately make us feel needed, make us feel satisfied. And I said I wanted to go back to that one definition that one of my followers gave me, because they said that love is security and self-worth. Relationships and love are not supposed to give you your self-worth. God has already given you your self-worth. And ultimately, you have to know what your self-worth is before anybody comes around. Because if you don't know what your self-worth is, then you go for anything. You'll go for anything. Like, it's not somebody else's job to give you your self-worth. It's not someone else's job to satisfy you. It's not somebody else's job to meet those unrealistic expectations, because those expectations are very unrealistic. I'm not saying that, for example, if you have the expectation that, ladies, he's going to, bring you flowers and chocolates and rent out a whole restaurant. If you have that expectation, that doesn't mean that no one has the capability of doing that. You know what I'm saying? But if you have that expectation because you want it to make you feel wanted and you want it to make you feel complete, then that's when it's the problem, you know? I'm not saying that you should never have expectations of people. That's dumb. Yeah. That's pretty much what lust is. And I think that in every relationship you have, you should really take a step back and think about, you know, am I just focused on getting from that person, or am I giving to them? Am I focused on what I can gain from this relationship versus what I can give to this relationship, you know? I think that a lot of times we get a little bit self-righteous. We really do get self-righteous and like, I got it all going on. What you got going? You know what I'm saying? I know what I want, what you want, you know? But take a step back and really look at what you have going on, you know? Are you giving everything that you can give to that relationship, you know, and expecting nothing in return? That's the ultimate love. And that leads me, great segue, Sakile, into what love is. Love is giving. God sets the perfect example that he is love. He is the perfect definition of what love is. For God so loved the world that he gave. For God so loved the world that he gave. That's the biggest love that you can have is by giving. Give. That's what God did to show that he loved us. He gave Jesus Christ. Point blank, Jesus gave his life. Jesus was sinless. And he took up all of our sins that he had nothing to do with to save our lives. We can all agree that that is the biggest way, that's the biggest love, that's the biggest sacrifice that anybody could ever give, is their life and taking on someone else's wrongs. You know what I'm saying? So loving someone is giving to someone. To get to kind of the second little part of what my title is of why we shouldn't fall in love, is because love is not a mistake. And I think that in our society we have this falling in love. Oh, we fell in love, it's so beautiful. But in all actuality, it's not beautiful to fall in love, because when you fall, it's an accident. When you fall, it hurts. When you fall, like, it's just not what you intended. If you're walking down the street and you fall, you're embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Like, love is anything but a mistake. Love is a decision. Love is a commitment. You need to start taking ownership of the decisions that we're making, you know? Because love is a decision. It's the decision to give. Ultimately, it's a decision to give. It's a decision to not be expecting that person to fill you up. Until people really grasp and understand what love is, then relationships won't work, you know? I think Pastor Rich, he gave some of these like little statements. He said, think about these things. Fate versus faith. Feelings versus facts. Love versus lust. Convenience versus conviction. Chemistry versus commitment. And he said all those things to basically just drive home the fact that love is a decision and that it's a commitment, you know? It's not something that just haphazardly, you know what word, I think I said that right, that it just happens, that, you know, it's just something you fall into, because it's not. It's really a decision that two people have to make and work at for it to work. I just hope that out of everything that I just said, that one, we start leaning on God more to fulfill us. We start leaning on God more to satisfy us, and to lean on him completely. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I want to say on that, guys, what love is and why we should not be falling in love. Stop saying that. Stop saying that you're falling in love. No, say, I'm making the decision to love you. That sounds so weird to say, but yeah, that's really what it has to be. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that I have concluded everything that I wanted to say. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really do hope that I was able to portray and just say what it is that I was trying to portray and say. And I hope that at least one person got something out of this video. So yeah, like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias, Ayana_Simmons, AYANNA_Simmons, SIMMONS. Ladies and gentlemen, don't give up on love. It's real. It's out there for you to have. Okay, goodbye.